Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, September 20th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe just interested in learning about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Real quick, a clarification. I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, which you can see up here. But each one of these candlesticks, what that means, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, ticker symbol NIO. And this is a very popular stock. And it had a very rough day today, as is illustrated there by that trend line. And when stocks have those very rough days, especially when they're popular, it can produce some very dynamic movements to the upside, because a lot of times people are just seeking any reason at all to buy a stock. And that's what, especially when it's very popular. And that's what we have here, including the last 30 minutes. So check out huge volume bar last 30 minutes. Nice hammer candle right there. Does that guarantee anything? It does not, but does it make it valid? Does it make it plausible to think that if the price can come up to that trend line and push up through, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? Absolutely. So definitely keep an eye on this dynamic if you like these sorts of situations where you have a popular stock, borderline a cult stock, beaten down, and then looking for any reason at all to go up. Next one here, we have ticker symbol NKLA, and should all look pretty familiar to those of you that have watched the past videos, but if you haven't, and this just illustrates the power of charts, but talked about this level here at $1.63 as the main area of resistance. You can see this morning, that's right where the price opened up. And then the opening 30 minutes got very nasty as there was this big move to the downside. But then that's also where the secondary level that I talked about down here at $1.38 shows up. And you can see, well, surprise, surprise, again, the power of charts. That's right where it found some support, which generated a nice bounce in the upwards direction. But then outside of that, nothing really new to talk about. The same levels still pertain. Top level of this pattern right now, $1.63. Bottom part, $1.38. And maybe there's going to be some sort of sideways channel here that starts to form. That remains to be seen. But overall, those two key levels still remain the main levels moving forward. Next one here, ticker symbol CNXA. And this is one of these situations where I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply that this is a great discovery or special talent. I think a lot of people have drawn these levels here. And I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So let me get this pattern here drawn into play. Let me change it to green to represent the support. And let's just keep it one color now to hopefully make it easiest to see. So we have our resistance, we have our support, you have the very nice upwards move here. For you golfers out there, make it a little bit more visual, put our golf ball down here. This would be a bull pennant pattern. So nothing is guaranteed, but plausible, valid to think that the price, if it comes back up here and can push up through there, that break in of itself could create additional buying pressure. That is certainly a plausible scenario. So if you like penny stocks, you like bull pennant patterns, keep an eye on it. Next one here, we have ticker symbol CART, and this was an IPO today. So not a whole lot to talk about other than just make you aware of it. CART, Instacart is the company. If you follow the headlines, I'm sure you've seen it. But also, the idea of a watch list is to find unique, to find interesting situations, not randomly rush out and buy stuff, but at least watch it. So if you find these sorts of ingredients, interesting, then keep an eye on it. First ingredient, good, solid volume, which you can see down there. Other ingredient, big volatility. I mean, this, to think at one point it was up over 42 and is now knocking on the door of 33 in just a few hours, that's a lot of volatility. And then also, if you like stocks that are essentially kind of going straight down and you like to try to find those bounce areas, then that would be another criteria that maybe you would want to keep an eye on it. So are there any sort of patterns or anything like that? No, I can't really say anything other than just the price essentially going straight down right now. But does that mean that patterns could start to form moving forward? Of course, absolutely. And that's why you want to make sure you have volume and the volatility, which you do have those. So if you like these sorts of scenarios, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one here, AMC, and very, very nice move here. There's no doubt about it. To think that at one point the price was down here and then it went all the way up there. Good, solid move, but that does lead to the valid question. But is there any sort of true power? Is there any sort of genuine strength behind this movement? And I have no idea, but by using charts, we can make answering that question very straightforward. And in my mind, it all revolves around right down here at $7.80. Why is $7.80 so important? There we go. And I'm not saying this will occur, but for explanation's sake, let's say the price comes down here and then just continues on down. What would you have at that point? You would quite literally have the price having gone right back to where it started. And I mean, not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that make a good move and then go right back to where they were, not exactly the sign of true, genuine power. But to be fair, because no price can go straight up, maybe the price comes down here, difference behaves like that, and then starts to curl back upwards. Now all of a sudden, what do you have? Well, you'd have a set of lows right there, you'd have lows right there, and if you envision each one of those as stair steps, what do you have? Well, now you have stair steps making progress in the upwards direction, and that's what a truly strong move is going to do. It's not going to go straight up because nothing goes straight up, but it is going to at least show progress. So, okay, Clay, how are you defining quote-unquote show progress? Again, right here at $7.80. So let's see if the price can stay above it moving forward. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online web class that I'm offering in just a couple of days. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box, or if you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. Next one here, we have ticker symbol AMZN, Amazon, and a rough day today, not necessarily because it was a red day, but because the price broke down through that pink line there, the 200 period moving average. So just strictly from a technical point of view, not the sort of action that you want to see occur, but to also give some credit's due, after it bottomed out down here, has had a nice bounce in the upwards direction. But in my opinion, at least, I would just consider this a dead cat bounce until the price can prove itself. How am I defining quote unquote prove itself? Well, in this situation, by getting back above and staying above that pink line there, again, the 200 period moving average. In terms of levels of support, nothing fancy or complicated here, just very basic logic revolving around the question, well, where did the party finally stop today for the bears? And that was down there at $135.50. So $135.50 is where the buyers finally stepped in. So keep an eye on that as the main area of support. But yeah, overall, nice little bounce, but is there any sort of true power behind it? Let's see if the price can get up above that pink line and stay above it. Next one here, ticker symbol CGC, and this will mean a little bit more to those that have watched past videos, but if you have, then you hopefully remember me talking about this sideways channel pattern that has formed, top of the channel being $1.48, bottom of the channel down there at $1.04, and you can see right now, the price has officially and is officially testing the level, which brings about the valid question, can the bottom part of this channel hold? Is it going to create some sort of bounce? Now, if the price does break below it, not quite the end of the world, and the reason I say that is because you now have that pink line there, the 200 period moving average, creeping up and potentially acting as support. In fact, let me zoom out so you can see a little bit better idea of where that line's coming from. So you can see it's been sloping upwards. So like I said, not totally the end of the line, not totally a disaster if the price breaks to the downside of the pattern here. But if the price breaks to the downside of the pattern and then comes down to that pink line and breaks down through there, at that point, that would be a pretty big red flag that the bulls have lost control. So yeah, getting a little sketchy right now, but there is still supports, and we'll see if the price can maintain above them or not. Next one here, TSLA Tesla. And overall, I want to approach this in a very straightforward way and just use some of these key moving averages, going back to the whole idea of self-fulfilling prophecies and a lot of eyeballs watching these levels. So nothing fancy here, but I do think a lot of people are watching them, which just, you could potentially get some of those self-fulfilling prophecy type dynamics. But what we're going to do here is just pretend that this is not a moving average, but rather a trend line. And same with right here. Now, they are moving averages, the purple line being the 50 period moving average, the pink line being the 200 period moving average. But for pattern's sake, let's just pretend that those are trend line that are drawing themselves for us. So we have this area of resistance up here. We have this area of support right here. And now you can see we essentially have this wedge pattern that has formed, which brings about the big question of who is ultimately going to win out of this battle. Are the bulls going to win out with a break to the upside, or are the bears going to win with a break to the downside? For me, at least in my opinion on Tesla, that's the key question right now. Who is ultimately going to win out of this channel pattern? And based on what you think, then of course, that's where you can construct some trade plans for yourself, whether that's with options or anything like that. But to me, like I said, I think a lot of people are going to be watching those moving averages, so we'll see how the price continues to behave relative to them. Next one, we have AMD, and overall, a nice sideways channel pattern here that has formed. And I've talked about this before. I'm going to make one little adjustment now that we have more data. I'm going to adjust this bottom part of it right down there to that area at $100.70. But overall, not a whole lot of new things to talk about other than just reiterate the levels that I've talked about in past videos. But it is AMD, very popular stock, so I like to keep it updated. But also, you've got to think that there's going to be that many more people watching the bottom part of that pattern there. So if you're someone that likes to play shorts, no guarantees, but I don't think you're crazy at all to think that if the price comes down to that level and breaks down through it, that break right there could very well create additional selling pressure to the downside. So keep an eye on that dynamic if you're somebody that likes to play puts or whatever. But on the flip side of things, there's also, you can't deny it, a very, very clean-cut area of resistance. So I completely see where you're coming from if you're thinking, well, I'd want to play some sort of breakout where the price comes up there and pushes up through there, because now not only would it be a break of this area of resistance, but that would also imply that it's broken up above that purple line there, the 50-period moving average. So in order to play that breakout, that would assume, therefore, that there have been 2 breaks of key areas of resistance. So like I said, I completely see where those people are coming from. So somebody's going to be right, somebody's going to be wrong, and that's why risk management matters. But the core dynamic here is that from a watch list standpoint, these are definitely some key levels that you could put together a trade plan for yourself. Next one here, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ. So if you believe the NASDAQ market is going to rise, this one will also rise. Difference being it just allows you access at a much lower price point. So key dynamics here that I've talked about already. I'm going to go ahead and just get this level out of the way for now because we will use it. But the key dynamic that I think that many more people are going to be watching, if they weren't already watching it, is that trend line right there. Because did it hit it exactly? It did not. But it got relatively close to it right there before pulling back. But because of the nice little afternoon action here with the price coming back up, it's once again within striking distance. So, it's still got a little bit of room to go, but I think it does make sense to throw out the question of could the price potentially break that trend line? With all that being said, even if the price does break the trend line, so I'm thinking of CGC. Remember, CGC was the one where if it broke to the bottom of the channel, it still didn't necessarily mean everything because you had that moving average below it. We have the flip side here. Just because the price breaks above this resistance, I wouldn't get too overexcited because not that far above it, you have the 50-period moving average right there. But if the price can break through both those levels, then at that point, that would certainly be a sign of good, solid power. Now, if the price does roll back over, key level to watch, and again, nothing fancy here, just a question of where did the party finally stop for the bears? So where did the bleeding finally stop? Right down there at about $38.60. You can see the price knocked on the door several times, but to give credit to, the bulls held very strong before producing a nice upwards bounce. So if it does come back down there, then that's where you can throw out the question of potentially some sort of double bounce. But overall, I think these are 2 very well-defined levels. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to go get signed up for that free class. It'll be in a couple days, Thursday, September 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, do 2 things for me. Hit that like button, leave a comment down below, say hi, tell me what you traded today, give me your watch list for tomorrow. But those 2 things help out. They communicate to me that you're enjoying. And as long as you know that you are enjoying, I will continue to do these videos. So hit that like button, leave a comment down below, and go get signed up for that free class. Take care. Thanks for watching.